Hey guys, so this is Sharang as always, and with me here as always is Sharvari. I don't think we need further introductions. If you guys are curious as to our backstories, who we are, and what we do, you guys can check out our introductory videos. And so today, Sharvari and I, in our personal time, were having some discussions, especially pertaining to marriage. And she was telling me that when she announced the fact that she was getting engaged to her relatives and colleagues and friends, a lot of the times the response was, "Oh, you're only 25. Why did you decide to get married so young?" And I think that this led us to an interesting topic, which I think and we believe is pertinent to people who are in our age bracket. That this question, which in some cases might have been age old, that what is the right age for a woman to get married? And I think so. I would like to, ask Sharvari a series of questions to try to get her opinion on this. And of course, the disclaimer is that both of what we're about to say is just our opinion. In no way we wish to enforce our opinions and ideas on other people. This is simply our perspective on this issue. So without further ado, Sharvari, are you ready to be in the hot seat and be asked a bunch of questions?
Yes, I am. I can't wait. Go ahead, Sharon.
Oh, perfect. So, without further ado, the first question: how do you feel about marriage, and why did you decide to go for it in the first place?
Oh, well, I think when I was a little girl, like from the time I've been a little girl, I've seen my parents have a great marriage. And that always made me think that, okay, I want this when I grow up. But I was not that sure what age I would want it. I think that concept kind of strengthened itself as I grew up, or I saw my cousin get married when I was in junior college. So that kind of got the cogwheels running, I would say. And it was about when I was 24, 23 or 24 that I decided that I want to get married. This might be way too early. Like, as you said, people still think 25 is quite early. In my opinion, it's not. And if you ask me why, that's because there is, no right age to get married. But if you want to have some things in life, then I think there is certainly an age to get married. In my case, I wanted companionship, early companionship, and I also wanted someone I could grow together with. That was why I was looking for marriage in the first place. So yeah, that's why I indeed wanted marriage. And at this age, at 25.
Right. And what do you feel about getting married at 25? And why is that?
So why 25 exactly is because this has a bit of biological perspective to it. So I would, want a second opinion on that, especially yours, since you're a biologist. But 25 is a very good age to get married, especially if you want to have kids. So if you're planning kids
Mm-hmm.
in the future or you're thinking about kids, 25 is the age in which, you have not yet left that reproductive bracket, I would say. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
your body is still young and your body can go through multiple deliveries if you want it to. As
Mm-hmm.
you get older, your body can't really cope up with the stressors that are involved with pregnancy or delivery or even postnatal care, I think. So
Right.
the younger the age, the better the outcome is what I'm a believer of. And I always knew in my life that I do want to have kids. So if marriage is the way to have kids and have them young, that I would definitely prefer to get married young, for sure.
Right. So, if I may share my perspective,
Yeah, yeah.
right? I would first like to begin with somewhat of a disclaimer that I'm not saying that women have to do this or women, like, it is not for me to decide what women choose to do with their own lives and obviously with their own bodies. Having said that, biology and facts remain the way they are, despite however people may feel about them.
Yeah.
So what I feel about this is that multiple things. So first thing is that if you look around all over the world, and personally I lived for 6 years in Germany, so I experienced something, and what I experienced was a society which has a demographic challenge. Now, what do I mean by that? In any society, the fertility, right, has to be 2.1. That is, the average woman in any society has to have around 2.1 kids so that the population remains stable. However, whenever the fertility rate goes below 2.1, then that signals a problem for this society. And as kids, as kids growing up in India, which is the most populous country in the world, we often heard, "Arey, abadi बढ़ जाएगी, हम दो, हमारे दो," etc., etc. Essentially, control the number of kids you have, control the population, don't let it grow beyond its point. What we never considered was the exact opposite of what if there's a population collapse. And for 6 years, I lived in Germany, Western Europe, all over Western Europe and in Southeast Asia, like Japan, Singapore, South Korea. There's actually a demographic crisis where the fertility rates are much, much below 2.1. And because of that, the proportion of old people is drastically increasing, the proportion of young people is decreasing. So it's like if two people get married and only have one kid, sorry, then that means the population is reducing by half, right?
Yeah.
And essentially, if humanity continues this way, the population will die because it will lead to something known as a genetic bottleneck. Where if the numbers are too low, then the species won't have enough numbers to reproduce to survive effectively while maintaining genetic diversity and genetic health. That's one issue. Another issue is the strictly biological aspect of it.
Yeah.
Right. So for like our grandmothers, right, they would get married in their early 20s and begin to have kids in their early 20s. However, women today, right, many of them are in their 30s when they begin to have their first child. And this places because when a woman starts in her 30s, the likelihood that she'll have 2 or 3 or 4 kids is much, much less. And the reason for that is the woman's fertility decreases substantially and significantly from her 20s to her 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, as I'm no doubt you're aware, the average woman gets her first period and begins her menstrual cycle at around the age of 13 to 14 years of age. From that point, she reaches her 20s, and with every menstruation, with every passing year, she's losing the number of her eggs. And at some point, she's just too old to effectively have kids. So, at around 35, it is termed as geriatric pregnancy. It's no longer termed geriatric pregnancy because that geriatric is considered a pejorative. But in simple terms, even if you go to a doctor, they'll say that, okay, once you're 35, beyond 35, it's not advisable to have kids or it's full of risk. Another thing is that if a significantly older woman has kids, then the risk of things like Down syndrome can also increase. Essentially, so genetic defects and abnormalities can come. Yet another thing which I've not mentioned is that pregnancy and delivering a child is a very traumatic event for the woman's body, right? You literally have to push a human being out of your vagina, which many times can lead to things like a vaginal tear, etc., etc. And what no one talks about is that the hip bones, right, need to be flexible as well because a baby needs to be pushed through a woman's pelvic girdle.
Yeah.
So for all of that, if you're a woman, if you're a young woman in your 20s, it's much easier for your body to physiologically handle that stress.
Mm-hmm.
And my last and final point, and I hope I haven't taken too much of your time, is that you also need to be young enough to raise kids, right? So once you have kids, so let's say you're a woman who's had kids when she's in her 30s, and your partner might be in his late 30s or even early 40s. In that case, by the time your kids are 10 years old, you'll already be in your 40s and your partner in his 50s, respectively. So at some point, you don't have that level of energy to run after you and one child. Forget 2 kids.
Yeah.
And another thing which I just thought about is that if you have kids late, then the idea that their grandparents will be involved in the child's life is also low. Whereas in our case, we were raised, there was always a matriarch and a patriarch. Or our grandfathers and grandmothers played a very important role in child rearing. And with this, I would like to conclude and move on to my final question, which is what are the other aspects people should think about before engaging in a lifelong commitment with someone?
So I think like apart from emotional maturity is something I consider very important. I think apart from that, you should also be financially stable because some people like I see these people on Instagram, so they're having their own married life and they're having kids when they're young and all, which is okay, fine, you're legal, but do you have the emotional maturity to handle a relationship? Do you have the emotional maturity to handle a relationship and its positives, negatives, the kids, everything? And if you do not have that, or you yourself or are not coming from such an emotionally healthy place, then would it be wise to, go into that mindset of marriage and kids if you're taking baggage with you? And I think this is one issue that our generation faces a lot. They have not worked on themselves enough. That's why they take those issues into that marriage. And this might be a reason. There's, of course, scope for research, or there might have been research, but I haven't read it. But this is one reason why the rates of divorce might be going up. So you should be emotionally mature and you should also be financially stable. And this is one sentence my mom always says, that you should be able to support yourself the best, even if your partner is not able to support you. Like, it's not like he doesn't want to, but you should be so self-sufficient that you should not be able to rely on anyone. Your partner should not, fend for you. Your partner should be another person you're living with, and you have your individual, income and all of that, and you live together, you cohabitate is the ultimate goal. So yeah, that would be my opinion on these 2 points.
So very well said, Sharwari. I'm sure all of our listeners will really appreciate this unique female perspective, and I hope you guys liked and enjoyed my perspective as well. With this, I think it's a good place to end this video. I would encourage all of our viewers to like and subscribe and share this video. Tell us your thoughts about it. Please comment below. We are always eager to get your feedback. And thank you. Thank you for your time, Sharwari.
Thank you. And of course, do, as Sharang mentioned, do comment, because this is a really hot topic nowadays, especially for our age group, as we mentioned. So any other questions that you guys might have, we'd be happy to make a video on them, answer those as well. So yeah, do comment. And thank you so much for watching this video.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.